Hey new friends, I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I am sad that we are not at Washington Family Ranch together, but I couldn't be more excited and thankful for Aaron and the rest of the team at WFR for putting this together and giving us a chance to be encouraged and inspired right in our very own homes. And speaking of our very own homes, I'm literally in our closet right now. How many of you feel like the walls have been like closing in on you the last 8 months because there's not as many places to hide? So that is me. If you're in that space, I am too. And we are literally in my closet. Behind this curtain is all of our clothes right through there. So if you're feeling a little bit like you don't have it all together, join in the fun. We are going to have a good time. It is going to be awesome. Okay. So, my name is Karen Stott. Before I get any further, my husband and I have been a part of Young Life for the last decade or so. We've been going out there every year to help with medical teams. He is on the medical board of Washington Family Ranch, and we just love, 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 love the heart of Young Life Ministries. And I've been helping with the women's event for the last couple years, and it is just such a joy. It is literally one of my favorite things to do every year. I'm so sad we're not together, but I'm excited that we get to connect in this way together right here. I'm a mama of three. I'm an author, a photographer, business person. I love speaking all business things. I get a little bit nerded out in those ways. I love psychology, Enneagram, all the personality tests. I'm a little bit all over the board as far as that is concerned. So that is a little bit about me. I'm going to put the little things for you to follow me below if you want to connect with me more, and I'd be excited to do that. I, for one, am very, very thankful that we are here and that God has sustained us these last 8 months. No one ever expected 2020 to happen, and when we did, no one ever foresaw that we would be sitting here in November still dealing with the aftermath of the stuff that has unfolded and the virus and all the things and the stipulations. I, for one, have a 15-year-old driver in my house. So I am very, very, very thankful that we are still here because teaching a teenage driver how to drive is a very crazy situation. So let's just be thankful that we've all made it to today, and that means that God is not finished with us, that he has something for us to do. He has something to say to us, and the best is still very much yet to come, even though this year has been really, really, really crazy. I wanted to chat with you today about take a just deep breath. I wanted to chat to you today about cultivating an environment of peace in a season of chaos and uncertainty. I don't know about you, but this has been the most wild 8 months. Everyone is feeling in the same space collectively across the board. I've been speaking to women for about 10 years. There's never been a time ever, well, maybe right after September 11th, but there's never really been a time like this where you can go up to any person at any time, anywhere, and you can get the same feelings and emotions from every single person. There's worry, there's a underlying sense of anxiety, there's a little bit of panic, there's a little bit of fear, there's all sorts of these emotions that are going on under the surface, and everybody is manifesting in everybody's lives in different ways, right? And so I really felt like this is a time where I've never taught on peace before, but I can say that one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten my whole life is people come into my house and time again, they just take a deep breath and they say, it just feels peaceful here. It just feels at rest here. And that, my friends, is the biggest compliment I could ever receive. It just makes me feel great to know that the environment that we're putting in our house and that what's going on inside these walls is a ministry to people, and that just makes my heart soar. So when Aaron asked me to talk today, there were so many things that I could have chatted about, and there's so many things that we can grow in this season, and there's so many things that we can change, and God is always working at our heart, right? But I really felt like I wanted to just give you guys some practical, simple tools that you can use today, like easy next steps today, to cultivate a peaceful environment in your home, okay? So we're going to chat over these 3 areas. When it really comes down to it, we cannot have peace aside from Jesus, right? And so the fact that this is a Christian event makes my heart sore because I speak in business worlds too and other areas. And when you're talking about things like this and you aren't talking about Jesus, like what are you even talking about? You know, I can talk about music and twinkle lights and all the things, but really when it comes down to it, the source of all peace is Jesus. Jesus is peace. He is peace personified, and that is the foundation of what we need to be doing to create a peaceful home, right? So there's 3 areas that I wanted to chat about today. There is Him, there's our heart, and there's our home, okay? So I'm going to start with Him. I'm not a fan of the word self-care, and I feel a little bit like I should just like crawl in a hole or like go hide behind these curtains right now when I say that, because self-care is like everywhere right now. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Do what your heart wants, you know. If it doesn't, like all the things of that is coming out in the world right now of like, well, if it doesn't make you happy, then it's not worth it. Well, that is not how Jesus did his life. I mean, hello, he died on the cross for us. He laid out his body bare for us. He bore the weight of the world on his shoulders and bled his actual like body fluids all over for us. There's not a single thing about that that is comfortable. There's not a single thing about that that says, oh, that sounds really fun. It was a time where Jesus said, Father, let this cup pass. Like, do I have to do this? So what about looking at Jesus's life makes it seem like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do, and we're going to walk along, Jesus followers, and we're going to just do the things that make us happy. No, that is not Jesus, you guys. Jesus is personified. Yes, he is peace personified, but he is also humility, sacrifice, love, gentleness, patience, kindness, all the things in one amazing package and gift for us from the Father. So when we talk about like self-care, and I've been hearing it a lot lately, you guys, I'm going to a counselor. Many of the people in our house are going to counselors. I think everyone should go to counseling. I think it should be a prerequisite for life because you have coaches for business, you have coaches for school, you have coaches for sports, but there's no coaches for emotions or teaching people how to interact with different kinds of people, teaching you how to handle your emotions, your hormones, your reactions, all those things. So if you've been on the fence about counseling, I absolutely think you should. It is such a gift just to learn how to process things and get control over your own mind and your thoughts and what you can do to move healthy forward for yourself and for the people around you. But self-care to me is not like a pedicure, and it's not like a shopping spree or any other thing like that. Like self-care to me, when Jesus got overwhelmed in the Bible, he did not go like get a massage. He did not like go through the markets and like buy some fish and stuff, right? He went alone to be with the Father. So Jesus went away to be with his Father for a lot of reasons. He went away to prepare for major tasks. He went away by himself with the Father before he set into public ministry. He went away with the Father and prayed and spent time with him before he chose his disciples. He went away with the Father after he learned of John the Baptist being beheaded, and he went away to grieve. He went away to make important decisions. He went away in times of distress. Right before he was taken away, he knew what was ahead, and he was distressed. He was grieving about what he was about to face, and he went away to be with the Father, okay? That is the source of peace right there. No amount of fancy nails or shopping trips or bubble baths is going to get you the peace that you need inside your heart to face whatever situation you're facing. So a few of the things, and I'm all for all of those things, okay? I love me a good shopping trip. I love me a good bubble bath, and I love it when someone else does my toes. But when you're talking about heart work, when you're talking about getting peace, those are not the things that are going to get you peace. Those are the things that are going to get you rest. Those are the kind of things that might make you feel less overwhelmed. But true peace, true lasting peace, can only come from the Father. And so for me, if I'm taking a bubble bath, if I need that time away, if I need that rest, I will light my little LED candles because they're my favorite. And I'll put some worship music on and I'll go in the bath and I pray in there, or I listen to music and just let worship like soak over me. I will go on a walk with him. I will go, oftentimes it's a shower. Anyone else hear from the Lord in the shower? Just me? I don't know. That's for me, those are the places that I go to him and I get peace from him and him alone. There's nothing else that can replace that. There's nothing else that should replace that. If you're having a trouble right now with seeking him or with having quiet times with him, a few things that you can do, just easy things. Worship, even if you can't feel it in your heart, your spirit can feel it. So even if you don't have the strength to raise your hands or to speak hallelujah, your spirit knows that, and it can feel that. And so putting worship music on in the house, just trying to think about Jesus throughout the day. You know, what does he want to say to you now that he can't say in any other season? These are some of the questions that I ask him when I'm going through a trying time or when I feel like I can't hear him. Is, Lord, what are you saying to me right now? What are you trying to teach me right now? Who can I help right now? That's a big one too. Who can I help right now that I couldn't help in another season? What can I learn right now or what are you trying to teach me right now that I couldn't learn in another season? Oftentimes, the easiest way for me to connect with the Father, and this sounds a little bit weird if you haven't done it before, but these are like journaling prayers, okay? And when I do workshops in person, I take, a set time and I play worship music. Well, I don't play it because you do not want to hear me sing, but I put on worship music and I give people time to walk through this. But since for the sake of time here, I'm just going to tell you the exercise, and then I would really encourage you to do it on your own. But what I do is I just get normal paper, journal, whatever you need, and I start writing my prayers to him. Dear Jesus, dear Father, Lord Jesus, Father God, however you start it, whatever your language with the Father is, just write it out. I am struggling. I'm a mess. I'm heartbroken. This feels too much. This is overwhelming. My husband lost his job. I lost my job. Someone got a diagnosis. My kids are depressed because of school. I feel like I'm going to lose my actual mind because I'm trying to do distance learning. Whatever it is that's on your heart, like, that is not too much or too little for the Father. Like, he knows it all anyways. So we might as well just open up to him, right? It's kind of like if you're a parent and you know what your kid is hiding or you know what they're doing, and you're like, okay, so you're saying that when you were at Sally's house, what happened? And you absolutely know, but you're just waiting for them to say it. And that is what the Father's like with us right now. And so we can just lay it out there. And so I just start praying, prayer journal, all the things, all the words, just basically like gut vomit all over the pages of like everything that you're going through. And then at the end, what do you want to say to me? And this has never ever failed me. This sounds kind of wackadoodle, but I promise you it's not. And when he meets you there and when you try it yourself, you're going to know that it works. But then on the next page, I flip it over and I say, what do you want to say to me? And I just start writing, you guys. And I have been doing this since I learned this exercise in YWAM when I was 18 years old. So I've been doing it a very long time. And it has never failed me. The words have never come back as like my own things, and it sounds very strange, but you just say, Holy Spirit, I invite you to take over. What do you want to say to me? And just write, and just write and write and write everything that comes to your mind as fast as you can do it. And then at the end of the exercise, pause and like read through what Father God is saying to you. It is absolutely the most life-changing practice I have ever been a part of and ever done in my life. I taught it to our kids. I've taught it to hundreds of women all over, and it is such like an instrumental part of how I do my walk with the Lord. On top of the letters is just like the heart work. So that's actually the next thing that I was going to talk about, is the heart work. So connecting with him and then letting him sink into your heart, right? After that, these are the decisions. He is the constant. He is the one that's always there. He is the one that has enough grace and enough love and enough patience and enough kindness for all of us. And we are the ones that struggle and grapple with his truths and how to walk that out in a really sketchy, really hurtful, really sin-filled world, right? And so a few of those things that I have been working on over the course of life, but especially during this pandemic, is like offenses, forgiveness, kindness, love, right? These are the foundations of the Christian belief system, and they are hard. Oh my gosh, are they hard? Especially right now with we're right at election, we're like here. Actually, by the time this airs, it will have just been over. So there is hostility and anger and hurt and frustration, and all of these cries, you guys, every single one of them is out of a heart that's hurting. A heart that's hurting that wants justice, okay? And we have a choice to be kind and show the kindness to the world. The Bible says that people will know we are believers by our love and our kindness for people. Like that's what sets us apart. And right now there's an invitation across the board to be offended. Everyone is throwing stuff out there in your face, all the stuff, red, blue, left, right, all the things, blah, 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 all day long. If you've watched Social Dilemma, which if you haven't, I really suggest that you do, it's on Netflix. You can see that there's like a constant stream of narratives that we are digesting all the time through our phones and through our computers. And we have the choice, you guys. We have the choice to pick these things up, these little tiny seeds, and say, that doesn't sit right. I'm going to be really frustrated. I'm going to be really annoyed. I'm going to be really angry, okay? And we have a choice to pick those up and get offended and then lash out at people. But as Christians, it is not up to us to be offended. It is literally like we have no right to be offended at all. Are there offensive things? Yes. Every day, all the time. We live in the world with sinful people all the time. Of course, we have every excuse in the book to be offended, you guys. We have every excuse in the book, and we have zero right. Zero right. Okay, so because if we are sitting here and saying, I'm offended by what you did, I'm offended by what you said, I'm offended by what you believe, we're literally saying to the other person that God's grace for us is okay. God's grace to clean us, to forgive us, to wipe away our slates. God's grace is enough for us, and it's not enough for other people. If He is a God of grace and a God of love and a God of forgiveness, that is what we're supposed to be too. Like, we are made in His image, and He wants us to follow after Him and His characteristics. It's one thing to follow after Him, and it's a completely other thing to follow after His character and what He embodies and try and do those things. Okay, so how many of you know Christians that don't act like Christians or that don't act like Christ? It is our job to be Him to the world. Okay, and so that is where the heart work is, and it is hard. Heart work is hard work. I don't know where that came from, but I love puns, and so it just had to come out. But it is hard. It is hard to choose the right thing. It is hard to choose kindness. It is hard to forgive. I'm walking through this with my 6-year-old and even my 13-year-old and even my 15-year-old, that forgiveness is a choice every single day. But Mom, they did it again. I don't care. I care, and I'm sorry that they did that to you. It is our choice as believers to forgive others in the same way that we were forgiven ourselves, right? It does not feel like forgiving when you're called to forgive. I had someone that I was growing up with that was hurtful to me my whole life. And it came a point at the same YWAM scenario that I had to choose to forgive that person, and it did not feel like it. And it did not feel like it the next day or the next day or the next week or the next week or the next month or the next year. And still the person continues to do hurtful things to me and my family. And it is on us as believers to continue to choose to forgive them all the time. Do we need to be a doormat? No. Do we need to stay in any sort of abusive situation? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay? That is not what I'm saying. But when someone's just being kind of a jerk, just being a little obnoxious. Yeah, it is our job as believers to forgive that person. Um, so in those heart scenarios, um, forgiveness is my biggest one, is the biggest thing. Um, Not taking offense to people, so I guess that would go hand in hand with forgiveness. And then the other part that I really choose to focus a lot of my time and effort on is gratitude and not complaining. And the people in my family kind of tease me for it, but I would not want to be teased like for anything else. Like it is my favorite thing to be teased about ever. We were watching Inside Out the other day. And if you watch Inside Out, you know that there's this one called like Joy, and she like goes over to the person that is like the sad one that's like walking around like this, and she was like, your job is to keep all the sadness in the sadness circle, and she like draws the circle around sadness, and she's like, you stay there, sadness stays there, and this is where joy lives. And all my kids turn to me and they're like, that's like you, mommy. And I could not be prouder of that statement. Like that is what I strive for every day, and that is not an accident, you guys. I am in my closet right now. I have had enough of the pandemic. I am a massive introvert, and all the people in my space is making me lose my actual mind, okay? But what I choose to, what goes into me and all the circumstances, okay, there's circumstances, pandemic, voting, red, blue, all the things, natural disasters, losing jobs, the economy is crashing, there's this crazy sickness, people are getting scared of everybody, there is hurricanes, wildfires, all the things. There's all this out here, right? And our job as believers is to be like this, be like hidden in him, right? We're supposed to be like, we're just hanging out in here with Jesus, and all this stuff can pelt at us. But if we are going to him and we're hiding in him for our peace, we are allowing him to choose, or we are allowing him to transform our heart, and we are choosing to walk out those things. That is where you can be known as like the crazy joyful person, the cartoon that's putting sadness in a circle. You know, that is where transformation is. If life was super easy and super great all the time, then joy and peace would be easy. Forgiveness would be easy, but that's not the way it is. And so we need to be connecting with him, connecting to his heart, hiding ourselves in his heart, and then allowing him to transform our hearts. And the last thing I wanted to talk with you about was like home. Like we have never spent more time in our homes ever. Ever. As a collective society, we have not spent this much time in our homes. There's a commercial that's like, I don't even know what the commercial is for, but it talks about like our homes were not, maybe it's a Pink commercial. Our homes are now, offices. They are yoga studios. They are classrooms. They are all these other things sorry, I'm a massive hand talker, which isn't super weird when I'm on stage. It's a little bit weird when I'm in my own closet and you guys are having to watch my hands all over the screen, but this is my chapstick. I just found it in my pocket. Makes me feel better, and it smells delicious. On another note, our homes, like we have been in these walls for a really long time. Really long time. If you're a stay-at-home mama, or you're an empty nester, or you're a student, we're just in the home more than we're supposed to be. And there's never been a better time to make these places like a haven for our soul, okay? For me, the introvert part of me is like, I need a space that's like literally my own that I can't be interrupted from. And that has been something that my husband and I have been like really working on, trying to figure out where that is, because every place in the house is taken with people. I am this close to like cleaning out underneath my stairs and putting twinkle lights under there and just being like, oh, I'm just putting a bing bag in there, little microphone, or not microphone, but little speaker, listen to some music, just hide under the stairs. Like I'm that close. But what we need to be doing right now in this stage is really taking inventory of the people in our homes and in our neighborhoods, anyone who's coming into our house. How can we make this feel more peaceful for you? How can we take the burden of the world off when you enter the store, okay? To some people, my husband's super type A, super clean, neat person. Um, I am more of a atmosphere person and a decor person. Um, and so we've saved a lot of money on gas these past couple months. We have saved a lot of money on clothes, to be honest, because we didn't have to do school clothes or back to school shopping or anything, work clothes. Like none of those things have been important. So there was a little bit extra money in the budget, and I have been doing extra things lately to make our home feel like this amazingly peaceful haven. We painted the wall in our family room last week, this beautiful deep emerald color. I hung twinkle lights from the ceiling in there. We got a cozy sectional in there. We've just been trying to figure out like what can we do to make this place home. So for me, that room, and for my son, who's 13, we're both pretty introverted. We love like cozy spaces and pretty lights and just being able to be somewhere by ourselves. But that's not everybody in our family. And so what I would suggest for you guys to do is go to your family, go to your friends, go to your neighbors, ask them like, and then ask yourself, like, what are some things I can do, some tweaks that I can make in this house right now to make it less crazy, to make it more peaceful and to cultivate an environment of peace. And so I asked my husband, like, what can we do right now to like help you? What stresses you out when you come in the door and what brings you peace when you walk in the door? And it was interesting to me, like our room is like an actual disaster. We don't have nightstands. So we have these like janky tables that don't have drawers, and so everything's like on the top of the tables, like right next to our bed. Our laundry is forever in a pile either on our bed or on the floor and then back and forth all week long. So our bedroom is not like the most peaceful, clean scenario, okay? And he's very much like type A, wants everything, like would prefer everything to be clean, but to him, the bedroom's not a priority, okay? So for him, I realized when I asked him, it's the entryway table. We have a long entryway that goes into like the kitchen great room area, and there's an antique bench on the side, like an old church pew. And then there's hooks right above it that have all the backpacks and the kids stuff, right? And that tends to be like drop zone mania, like all the stuff there all the time. And so what we've worked on doing is making sure that the kids aren't putting stuff there, that it's clean all the time. We're working on putting, if you walk in and the entryway is right here, the family room that I was just talking about with the twinkle lights is right here through these doors. So we're working on putting some like a bench and some hooks in there and trying to make it so that that can be a drop zone instead, so that the kids aren't like messing up this one right here. He also really likes it when the counters are clean and the table's clean. Okay, that's super easy. Literally just not having clutter right when he walks in the door was enough to make him feel happy. For me, it's like I put on my diffusers and my have like calming oils and different things, and then I put on my like LED candles, and then I put on like music of some sort, either like a happy playlist that I have put together or a worship playlist. And for me, those are the things that like make me happy. My daughter does different things with hers, and so it's all about figuring out like what can you do in this season to intentionally take care of what helps your family feel at ease. And it is life-changing, you guys. We started realizing that there was a lot of clutter like everywhere. Like we have a 6-year-old, and you know how they are, they just kind of leave their stuff all over everywhere. So we found this like tiered basket system that has numbers on it at Hobby Lobby. We keep it at the base of the stairs, okay, because all the bedrooms are upstairs. And every time that we find something that's one of ours, we all have numbers, and we just take it off of the table and put it in one of the baskets. And then when the basket gets full, it's whoever's responsibility is that number to take the stuff upstairs and put it away. And it just gives it like, instead of like moving piles and always having these moving piles, it's this super easy organizational system that just makes it much simpler to clear the clutter. You know what I mean? Another simple thing that we love to do is just to keep the words positive, to spread the love languages, right? So I bought a ton of Post-it notes, and we just have a drawer full of Post-it notes and stickers that we can write notes to each other all over. We can write treasure hunt things, we can write I love you, we can write you're doing great, we can put them on mirrors and refrigerators and coffee makers, and that has been the most fun to like randomly like go somewhere and just see these like little love notes sprinkled all over the house. Um, Another fun thing that has been really cool is um, like gratitude journaling with our family. We've been doing like, I'm thankful for this, and like we do it at dinner every, when we're, what is a good thing about this week? What is a hard thing about this week? What can we walk through? It's hard right now when we're together so often. It sometimes feels like we can't have intentional conversations, and we've just been challenging ourselves and our family to dig a little deeper and start asking different things and figuring out how we can all walk through this season thriving. And it has made a huge world of difference. It's also been nicer to like, before when the lives were so busy and it was like school and sports and carpool and blah, 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 all the stuff, we're running everywhere. It felt like dinner time was like this sacred only thing, and so we would have all this amazing and intentional family time at the dinner table. And now every meal is all of us together all the time. And so I started feeling like it was a little bit repetitive and it wasn't special and all these things. So one of the things I was talking to my counselor about was that specific situation of like, how do I feel? How do I make something intentional when we're here all the time? And she said it's fine to like give yourself permission to break apart into rooms a little bit more. Like if you need your space from each other or do different projects. But then like bring in another tradition, a Friday night movie night or a Tuesday taco night, or everybody, like a cooking contest or something. One of my friends across the street, her teenagers take different nights of the week for cooking. And so doing things that are just mixing it up a little is really, really helpful too. So, this is a season that could be very, very, very much full of complaining, right? I was reading a book several years ago called Calm the Anxious Heart by Linda Dillow, I think her name is. And there was a part in the book that was literally like the most amazing thing. And it was called The Prescription for Contentment. And so she started talking about this, and I went through the book and I wrote it down, and it says, never allow yourself to complain about anything, not even the weather. Never picture yourself in any other circumstance or someplace else. Never compare your lot with another's. Never allow yourself to wish this or that had been otherwise. Never dwell on tomorrow. Remember that tomorrow is God's, not ours. And I literally, like, that grabbed a hold of me in like this crazy way, because I was like, not complain about anything, not even the weather. And this is, most of us here are from Oregon or Pacific Northwest, and if you live this side of the Cascades, you know that it can get very, very dreary for a really long time. And so that particularly spoke a lot to me about not allowing complaining to come from our hearts and just sowing a culture of gratitude into our house. And so every time we hear a complaint or something, we have been asking, like, what in that specific situation can you be thankful for? What in that specific situation, or what in this can you find joy in? And so just rephrasing some things like that has been really helpful too. I know that that's a lot of things like dumping all over you, and I don't mean it to be overwhelming in any way. I just wanted to give you guys some practical tips on, like, this is a crazy season. We've never been here before. And we don't know how long it's going to last, to be honest. Like, we have zero idea, like, when our governors are going to decide to let things open up. We have zero idea when our kids are going to be back to school and back to sports, or when we're going to be able to go into into churches and things like that without masks, like all the things. So I know that I've thrown a lot at you guys today, a lot of really hard heart things, and a lot of really simple, fun steps that you might enjoy going forward with. And I hope you've been encouraged that it doesn't have to be perfect to be peaceful, and that you guys can cultivate an environment of peace in your heart and in your home, no matter where you're at and what you're going through and remember all the stuff that's going on the outside. You have the control and the power in the Lord Jesus to change. You might not be able to change the circumstances, but you can change what's happening in you, and you can change the tone and the atmosphere of your home, which will overflow onto everything else that you are doing in your life. So I hope you have been encouraged. I am sending big hugs and praying blessings from where I am in my house, and I just am so excited for what God is doing. I know that He is ever present in this situation. I know that sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but I know that He is here. I know that He has chosen us for this time, for this place. He knew that 2020 was coming, and He has chosen us just as much for this time as He did for last year, just as much as He did for next year. And so I'm really excited to see, like, what is He doing in us that He couldn't have done in any other season? What is He doing in our world, in our city, in our kids, in our community that He couldn't have done in any other situation? Because I know that He has good plans for us. I know that the best is yet to come, and I know that He is going to eventually, one day, make sense of it all, and that He is doing good in all things. In all things, He is working them for the good for those who love Him, and I'm so thankful in that for that. If anything, we can rest peacefully knowing that all the things that are happening, He promises to work good out of everything that we're facing and everything that we're walking through. So sending big hugs and love from my family to yours, and I'm counting down the days till we get to see each other again in person. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day and holiday season.